My name is Steve. I'm a Florida State licensed private investigator. My license number is C as in Charlie 1400195. I'm going to start this video message off with a recording. This recording I'm going to play for you is Beth Fortin, a deputy with the Volusia County Sheriff's Office.
Oh, ma'am, am I all set to go? Okay. Please do it. Sure. Enjoy your day, Beth.
And I'm well aware about the courthouse, so don't think that I'm not.
What courthouse? You know, if you even bothered, to research, you would know the truth, but you don't.
Again, that is Beth Fortin, a deputy with the Volusia County Sheriff's Office, stating to me as we were parting ways, I'm well aware of the courthouse, so don't think that I'm not. Now, the second item I'd like to show you, this is a legal document right here, filed in the court of Volusia County, and on this legal document is a Lori Baumeister, who is a clerk with Volusia County, a court clerk. Not sure of her exact title. This is an original. It is over 4 years old, and on the very last page of this document, I have under my fingers the home address of a 30-year employee, Lori Baumeister. Again, under my fingers is the home address of a 30-year employee of Volusia County Clerk of the Courts, Lori Baumeister. Now, how did I get it? I didn't follow anybody for it. I didn't have to pay anybody for it. It was simply given to me. It was given to me by two deputies with Volusia County. Now I'm going to tell you a story. It's nonfiction. This story begins in February of 2013. In and around that time, I received a citation for allegedly not wearing my seatbelt. This was in the city of New Smyrna Beach. I requested a court hearing. I attended this court hearing. At this court hearing, Lori Baumeister was working as a clerk that day. Now, my turn came. I was called to testify about the citation I received. My name was called. Lori Baumeister did not call the citing officer's name. She didn't call any officer's name. Another officer from the New Smyrna Beach PD stood up next to me and testified to a citation he didn't receive. Now, shortly before the traffic court hearing began, I witnessed Officer Kirkland, who was the officer who wrote me the citation, talking with Lori Baumeister. Officer Kirkland left the courtroom before the court hearing began. Again, my name was called. I stood up. Officer Hunchard, another officer with the New Smyrna Beach PD, stood up and testified to a citation he did not issue. Officer Hunchard was nothing more than backup on my traffic stop that resulted in the citation. I wrote a few letters to hearing Judge Sino, who presided over the traffic court hearing that day. The day after, I submitted my second letter to hearing Judge Sino, explaining the situation to him, that one officer perjured himself about a ticket he never issued. A court clerk witnessed this. Again, the day after I submitted this second letter, which included a picture of the officer who stood next to me and perjured himself, I was served with an injunction by Lori Baumeister, which is this document right here. I was served with an injunction for protection against stalking violence. Now, I'm convinced after 4 years that there's certain members of the Volusia County Clerk's Office, certain members of the Volusia County Sheriff's Office, and the same goes for the New Smyrna Beach PD. I'm convinced that there are some members who just, maybe they can't read. Because if they did read this document, they would know that it was dismissed 4 years ago. The reason why it was dismissed is because there is not one piece of evidence that corroborates any accusation levied against me by Lori Baumeister. Again, when an accusation is made, there has to be evidence to support it. There was no evidence to support this injunction against me. This is nothing more than a pile of lies that Lori Baumeister stated on paper in order to get me to back off of the truth that I know. And ironically, I'm the person she accused of stalking with violence, which it never occurred. There's a few pages in here that actually state the complete opposite about me, that I'm incredibly courteous and polite, and that when the clerk of the court emails me information I request, I actually say thank you. And also, I am such a threat to these people in their eyes, which in reality I am not, other than the lies that they have manufactured. I am such a threat to them that I was given Lori Baumeister's home address. Again, a 30-year employee of Volusia County Clerk of the Court. I was given her home address. I'll continue. Now, let's fast forward to the current time. I was evicted and trespassed from my former home. This eviction was eventually deemed illegal by a judge in Volusia County. During the eviction process, I had to request several civil standbys. If you're not familiar with what this is, I'll explain. I had to go back to my home to retrieve my personal property. Every time I had to go back to my home, I had to call a specific number I was given. I had to request that a deputy come out, and I had to wait for a deputy to arrive. Then they would accompany me on the property and supervise, if you will, while I removed my personal belongings from my home. I would then leave and the call would be over. I'm gonna pause for now because I'm going to continue this in part 2.